Los Angeles must be obsessed with Titanic because for a number of years now, I'd seen various exhibits and events based around the Titanic. And many of them that, caught my eye and appealed to me, I just never took the opportunity to go and actually check it out. Well, this time around, I saw an advertisement for Titanic, virtual reality experience. The official title is Titanic: A Voyage Through Time. And it was like, okay, you know what? I've been saying I want to go do something, try something new. So let me go do this. This experience is virtual reality. The place is at the Beverly Center, right? So that's where you go to have the experience. And what they do is they give you this headset and you're immersed in this experience. And it starts off with present day, right? So you get a little backstory of the sinking of the Titanic and things of that nature. And then you get to go to the ocean floor, so to speak, and see the wreckage firsthand. And that was really neat. After that, you travel back in time and you get to experience the maiden and only voyage of the Titanic. So right from when it leaves the dock, you kind of board, things of that nature. You're shown to where your cabin is and things like that. Then you get this exclusive tour of the ship, right, so to speak. You get to go on the bow of the ship, the one made famous by James Cameron's Titanic. You get to explore that. You get to explore your cabin, and you're a first class passenger, right? So you get the lap of luxury, so to speak. You get to go down into the boiler rooms. You get to see that firsthand. You get to see remember the famous staircase from James Cameron's Titanic. You get to experience that firsthand. You get to experience the dining hall. Then there you're also shown the history of how they made this entire ship, what it took and stuff like that. And you get to see it, quote unquote, being built, which is pretty neat. And then you're taken into the, what would you call it? The steering wheel, front. That's not the official title by any stretch of the imagination, but it's where the steering wheel is and where it's they control, the speed and how fast and direction and stuff like that. So you get to see that and experience it firsthand. And then eventually from that vantage point, you see the iceberg hit the Titanic. And you get to see kind of people, running about and things like that. Now, I will say, while you get to experience the hitting of the Titanic, you don't really experience the sinking that much. You kind of just, end up boarding a life raft. You're saved, and you kind of see some, stuff from far away of it sinking. But, it's that part of the experience isn't as engaging as the rest of it was. And then from there, you're kind of given a little bit of tidbits and whatnot. And then that's the experience, right? So it ends up being about a 45-minute experience. It's a little bit trippy in the sense that, you're sort of immersed in this for sure. It's almost like literally being in a video game. It's not too lifelike. It's more like 2010s video game graphics. But I think it's, still good quality. And I love the little bits of information that you get throughout and how you get to really experience it. And you get to play with certain objects and test them out, interact with them, all that kind of good stuff. So, in that sense, it was really cool. And I loved how we got to go to the ocean floor and things of that nature. So in that respect, it was a lot of fun. It did make me really want to rewatch James Cameron's Titanic and see it in quote unquote lifelike. But it also gives different information than you would get from the movie or, other stuff, right? So I'm glad for that experience. And the big takeaway for me was seeing the scale of things, right? That was a lot of fun, is to see how big things truly were, from your vantage point. It's one thing to see it in a movie, but to see it there is really cool. And I can't imagine what it must be like for people to work there, to see just people with these headsets kind of like walking around and doing stuff with their hands, right? Because in the virtual reality, of course, like, you're interacting with something, but in real life, it's like, what is this person doing, and whatnot. The way you sort of get around is after a certain, like you go to a certain section, and then they'll ask you like, hey, step inside this circle or whatever, and then you step inside the circle and you're taken to the next place. So it's not like you get to walk around the entire ship, like you're more like transported from section to section. And there are boundaries to the thing. Like, sometimes you bump up against, it, and it tells you, hey, take a step back, right? So it was really cool. I will say it was slightly disorienting coming back out of the experience because, even though, as I said, the graphics themselves are kind of like from 2010's like video games, once you're back in the real world without the headset, you see chairs and benches and railings and stuff like that. And for the past, 45 minutes, your mind had been like, anytime you see a chair, it's like, oh, that's cool, but you can't sit on it because it's not real. Now your mind is adjusting of like, oh, wait, I can sit on that. I can actually interact with that. So I don't know. It was not like terrible, but it was, it took me a moment to like orient again after the experience. But I'm glad I went. It was fun. Tickets are, for me, they ended up being around $23. So, a little bit pricey for some, but not, I don't know, for what I got, like I wasn't offended by the price. Like I thought I would have expected, LA, especially with these kind of things, like I wouldn't have been surprised if they try to make like tickets $40 or $50. So the fact that it was $23, for me was a pleasant surprise. And worth the cost of admission. So I enjoyed it. If you're a fan of the Titanic, and by that I mean just interested in it, right? No one loves sinking ships. But, in that respect, I would encourage you to go see it if you have the opportunity. I think it's worthwhile. If and when you do, let me know what you think. I'd be very curious.